It is May the 1st, 2017. We have officially made it to May, and this is the first briefing for the month of May. We have had a lot to go through over the last week. We ended up with some severe storms that rode through on Wednesday. Bad on my part that I did not have time to record a video on Monday or Tuesday to warn you of that event. I did update through Twitter, but I normally do make an updated video ahead of an event that looks like it has changed from the time that I had recorded my briefing, which was still last Saturday. So we were still about 4 days away from Wednesday when I recorded the briefing last Saturday. So unfortunately, those ingredients did change considerably between Saturday and Wednesday, and I wasn't able to make an updated video on that. But that just means that if you have my Twitter, make sure and follow that, so that way you can get numerous updates in the midst of severe weather when it is coming through our region. We also, the purchase area of Western Kentucky, did miss a catastrophic rain event that did go through Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma, and southeastern parts of Kansas. And that was all due to a warm front that moved through our area on Friday afternoon and evening. There was some questions as to if we would see severe weather on Friday afternoon or not. There was a cap over the atmosphere. That cap did break, and usually when they break, you see severe thunderstorms exploding. We saw a couple of supercells in parts of northwest Tennessee that did explode, but they quickly ended up dying out once again and just became regular old showers. And we didn't have enough lift for those thunderstorms to come up and get going. Our mechanism in the atmosphere that was causing that lift, that lack of lift, was still, well, the ingredient that would have gave us that lift was still well off to our north and west and was swinging down into our area, and that didn't arrive until around late Friday night and early Saturday morning. If that would have been just a little bit sooner, then we would have ended up looking at some catastrophic severe weather over our neck of the woods, mainly in the Purchase area, the Boot Hill, northwest Tennessee on Friday. So that was a good thing that we didn't see that for sure. That warm front continued to move north and turned into a stationary front, which is basically, it's not a warm or a cold front, which means it's not moving north or south, but it becomes stationary, so it just kind of meanders around in the same areas, and it did that just about all weekend long last weekend, and we ended up seeing torrential rainfall amounts up to 10 inches of rain across Indiana, the southern parts of Indiana, southern Illinois, back into Missouri, and those other locations over here that I mentioned. The Van Buren River in Van Buren, Missouri, the current river, is hitting catastrophic levels. I think it's going to be its old record by about 15 feet, if not more, and that is absolutely crazy. It's crazy enough to beat your own record, but to beat it by that much is absolutely incredible, because they have had very catastrophic flooding over the years, and still this event completely outdid those other events by a long shot. And we also saw some other rivers that began to rise in parts of Missouri and southern Illinois. Water rescues were going on Saturday morning. People had to be evacuated from their homes overnight on Friday night. Some areas picked up around 7 inches of rain in just about 12 hours on Friday night, and that is an excessive amount of rainfall in a short amount of time, and that is extreme flash flooding. So, unfortunately, they had to deal with it, but the good news was that we didn't have to deal with it down here in the Purchase area. We ended up having some showers and storms that rode through Saturday night, and then during the day on Sunday. And once those two were added up, we ended up with around 2 inches on average across portions of the Purchase area. Western portions, the Carlisle County, Ballard, Hickman, Fulton, the Mississippi River counties ended up seeing about an inch more than areas in Graves, Marshall, Callaway, and parts of McCracken. And so the totals did decrease the further east that you worked, and we ended up seeing some more severe weather that stayed off to our southeast yesterday on Sunday. So we did dodge several bullets over the weekend that missed us, and that was some good news. Right now, things have definitely quieted down. We're looking at very cold temperatures that we had to endure today on Monday. We had gusts of wind over 30 to 40 miles an hour. Lowest temperatures were reaching around the low 50s as they are right now as of this recording, and it is 4:30, as you can tell up here at the timestamp, in the afternoon, which is usually our peak heating time of the day for this time of the year. And unfortunately, we're looking at a lot chillier temperatures, and when you add the wind, we're looking at even colder temperatures. These aren't cold enough to produce wind chill values, but they're not too far off from that. We would have to get into the 40s to produce some wind chill values, and those winds are still just cranking as of this recording outside right now. I think those winds will begin to die off as the evening wears on, as that mechanism that is bringing those higher winds, that upper level low, begins to swing off to the north and east. Those cold temperatures wrapping around behind the cold front that moved through yesterday and brought us that rain yesterday and Saturday evening. And that is bringing in those colder temperatures also on the backside of that low pressure that is all the way back up here, still close to the Canadian border. As we look at the rainfall and what we're expecting this week, we have another event coming in around mid to late work week that we are keeping a very close eye on. Between now and then, dry conditions, sunny conditions. Tomorrow on Tuesday looks to be beautiful. High temperatures in the 70s with mostly sunny skies. That is going to be the pick day of the week, because by the time we get into Wednesday, we're looking at an increase in clouds, and I'm going to go ahead and switch websites and go to a different one to show you a better look at what this rain is going to be doing during the day on Wednesday night and then most of the day on Thursday. As we go into midweek, that system begins to move into our area from the west, kind of northwest. It will be coming in from the southwest once we get into the day on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. But I think a lot of the rain showers will dodge us on Wednesday evening and Wednesday afternoon. But once we get into Wednesday night, that's obviously a different story. We see a bigger complex of convective showers and thunderstorms moving in from the southwest, and you can tell where this closed isobar is of 1,002 millibars. You can tell that is that circle. That is the area of low pressure at the surface. I will tell you this, that the GFS over the last couple of runs was showing it going through northern Mississippi, southern parts of Tennessee. It would have been great track for snow if we were talking about January. This is not the first low this spring that has been doing this, going south of our area or just right over our area. So I wish these would have done it back in the winter, but I guess they're going to do it in the spring when we don't get any snow from them. That low is supposedly, by the GFS model run of today at 12Z, will go over our region, go over the Purchase area. I'm sorry about that, but by the time it moves off to our north and east, it will be wrapping around some very cold temperatures as well as some raindrops and cloudy conditions. And look at how close our isobars here. So windy conditions will be setting in for the day on Thursday as well. So it looks like it will be windy. It will be chilly. We will likely see, if this track is correct, if the low goes over our area, temperatures will likely be falling throughout the day on Thursday if the timing of this low comes through during the middle of the day. If we see the low go to our north, then we're going to have to worry about just one solid band of showers and thunderstorms that could produce severe weather. And if we see that low go to our south, like it was originally planning to, then we would just look at cold conditions and windy and rainy conditions. Most of the time, we wouldn't have to worry about temperatures rising and falling. It would likely start out as a cold event and end as a cold event. And that system will continue to wrap around some showers on the backside of it as we go throughout the morning hours on Friday. Hopefully, those temperatures will begin to rise close to the 60-degree mark on Friday. It just depends on where that line of showers and clouds moves out of the area. Sometimes with these events, you get a solid line, a solid cutoff line of those clouds, and where that ends up being, you can see temperatures, a 20-degree difference between sunshine and clouds. So it just depends on where that clearing line and how far east it makes it during the daylight hours on Friday. Once we get into this weekend, it looks like we're going to be looking at a beautiful weekend. I know we've had very rainy weekends the last 2 weekends, so finally a pretty weekend is shaping up for us. Temperatures on this weekend are going to be getting up into the 70s, close to 80 degrees at some point during the weekend, so some very beautiful weather to look forward to, and that is always some great news. As we look forward to those temperatures, you can tell as we get into Tuesday, those temperatures, like I said, pick day of the week, rising into the mid-70s with sunshine. By Wednesday, those temperatures begin to cool down. Like I said, this will be determined by the track of the area of low pressure, so don't get too hung up on these numbers. Just know that we will likely see those temperatures fluctuating pretty rapidly from county to county, depending on where that low tracks. So keep a close eye on that forecast between now and then, because a little bit of a shift in the track could completely change the outcome of those temperatures for the upcoming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. By Saturday, temperatures already getting into the 70s. Excuse my remarks, getting close to 80 for the weekend. It doesn't look like we're going to get quite that warm, but 60s and 70s will be a very comfortable and mild temperature, a very spring-like temperature, and not almost summer-like like we were this past Saturday. And then once we get into the beginning of next week, those temperatures look to continue to rise up. Looking even further down the long range, I'm predicting that May will end up below average in the temperature department, which is good news. It should hold us down from severe weather concerns, and we should have below average precipitation.